Revealed, an incredible love story with a Duke's 7 heartwarming years of hidden transformations. In the quaint heart of Maplewood, the aroma of fresh pie danced through the air like a sweet promise. Children laughed as they zoomed down sun-soaked streets on their bikes, weaving between blooming tulips and waving neighbors. It was a picturesque Midwestern town, where everyone knew everyone else's business. For Sarah, a 32-year-old single mother, life was a tapestry stitched with long days at the local diner and the joyful chaos of her 2 little ones, Emma and Jack. Every shift filled her heart with pride, serving steaming coffee and slices of apple pie, each serving a lesson in resilience for her children. Her scrappy spirit thrived amidst the struggles. She wore her badge of honor with grace, a future of hope tucked into her apron pocket. Meanwhile, the arrival of Theodore, a 35-year-old Duke's heir, sent ripples through Maplewood. With his perfectly tailored suits and charming smile, he seemed like a figure straight out of a fairy tale, but beneath that polished exterior, his heart weighed heavy with the burdens of family expectations. They met awkwardly one sunny afternoon at the diner. She spilled coffee on him, and in the ensuing laughter, an unexpected bond had begun to form. Days turned into weeks, and late-night talks filled with shared dreams became their secret refuge. Sarah found solace in Theodore's tales of fancy galas while he marveled at her unyielding spirit. Their love blossomed amid the simplest joys, watching fireflies dance, sharing stories over pie. But whispers about them grew louder, echoing through the tight-knit community, questioning their love. Could a hard-working single mother really belong in the world of a Duke's son? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when their relationship had begun to feel secure, a crisis shook Maplewood. Floodwaters rose, threatening homes and livelihoods. In the chaos, Sarah and Theodore found themselves shoulder to shoulder, organizing relief efforts, distributing food and blankets to those in need. Here, in the heat of urgency, their love glimmered amid adversity. Townsfolk watched with a mix of admiration and suspicion, unsure of how to embrace their connection. But the biggest test of all loomed just around the corner. One evening, as they were helping a family recover belongings, Theodore received a phone call. His childhood home had been in the news, painting his family in a negative light, revealing secrets that might shatter everything they built together. Would the same expectations that bound him destroy them? Sarah's heart raced, torn between betrayal and disbelief. Could her love withstand this storm? Or would the weight of his title and lineage suffocate what they'd come to hold dear? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows, Sarah stood at a crossroads. With uncertainty looming large, she wondered, was love enough to challenge a legacy that threatened to pull them apart? The phone call lingered in the air, its implications stretching like the shadows trailing behind the sunset. Theodore's expression shifted from surprise to a shadowed resolve, revealing a man wrestling with the burdens of his heritage. Sarah watched him closely, her heart pounding in her chest. She could see the tightening of his jaw and the flicker of vulnerability in his eyes that only deepened her concern. "What did they say?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Theodore's shoulders slumped slightly under the heavy weight of family expectations and public scrutiny. "It's about my father. There are accusations of mismanagement, corruption, and old debts. Things I never knew about," he admitted, his voice wavering as he spoke. "If this spirals, it could ruin everything." The flood of townsfolk, their voices a symphony of hope and strength, felt distant as the reality of Theodore's world crashed against them. Suddenly, the quaint nature of Maplewood transformed into a harsh battleground for a relationship they had fought so hard to build. Sarah felt her heart clench at the thought of losing him, of losing what they had discovered together. "Is there anything we can do?" she prompted, her resolve filling her voice. Despite the uncertainty gnawing at her, she couldn't bear the thought of abandoning him now. He turned to her, eyes bright with a mixture of hope and despair. "I need to go home. My family, they'll expect me to help handle this. But what if they try to pull me back into that world? What if they don't want me with you anymore?" The fear that twisted inside him mirrored the torn feelings rising in her chest. Could she stand against the tide of tradition and expectation? "I don't know what tomorrow will bring," Sarah replied, drawing closer, "but I do know who you are. You're not just a duke's son. You're Theodore, the man who sees beyond titles and wealth. And wherever you go, I'll be right here, waiting." The wind rustled the trees outside, and with it came the bittersweet scent of dew and earth, reminders of home. In that moment, nothing else seemed to matter. Yet, as the evening grew darker, creeping around them like the uncertainty that hung in the air, a nagging shadow remained. Would a love born from truth and simplicity withstand the extravagant weight of his family's legacy? Days passed in a flurry of frantic packing and hurried discussions. Theodore had to face his family, confront the secrets that had shattered his ideals of nobility. Every time Sarah thought of him it was with a mix of pride and dread. She thought of Emma and Jack, their laughter and innocence, and the value of love they were learning. Then came the day he had to leave. They stood at the diner, their usual refuge, but today felt heavy. It felt like an end, rather than another beginning. "I'll call every day," he promised, grasping her hands tightly, their warmth anchoring her in that moment. "Promise me you'll be careful," she urged, her voice trembling. "As long as I have you waiting for me at home, I'll be strong," he said, his eyes piercing into hers, filled with unspoken hopes. They stood there, two souls intertwined yet caught in a world that threatened to pull them apart. As he turned and walked away, each step felt like a dagger to her heart. What if this was the last time? The air, thick with unspoken fears, enveloped her like a shroud. Sarah blinked back tears, her heart heavy with doubt. But then a sudden thought surged through her: if they could overcome the chaos together, maybe they could confront anything. And just when she thought despair would wash over her completely, her phone buzzed in her pocket, a message from Theodore. "Whatever happens, I'll find my way back to you. Always." With a renewed sense of determination, she placed her hand on her heart, whispering a silent promise to match his. Their love would not simply endure, it would transform challenges into triumphs. With every day ahead, there would be storms to weather, but also a powerful love to keep her afloat. And just as hope began to rise, a single knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. What awaited her on the other side could change everything. The knock echoed through the quiet room, shattering Sarah's moment of fragile contemplation. It seemed to reverberate against the walls, reminding her of the uncertainties looming in every corner of her life. Heart racing, she crossed the room, each step heavy with expectation. As she opened the door, the sight of Emma's small figure brought an immediate sense of relief, a bonding thread that kept her anchored amid her swirling emotions. The girl stood outside, her hair tousled by the wind, a small packet in her hands. "Sarah!" Emma exclaimed, bouncing on her toes. "I made you this." In her innocent smile, Sarah found a flicker of warmth. The packet revealed itself as a handmade card, adorned with childlike drawings of flowers and bright suns. Inside, a sweet message proclaimed, "You're the best." Along with a crayon likeness of herself and Sarah holding hands, surrounded by scribbles of hearts. Tears misted Sarah's eyes as she knelt to embrace the child. "Oh, Emma, this is beautiful. Thank you. It means so much to me," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Mom said you needed something happy," Emma quipped, a knowing twinkle in her eye. "Where's Theodore?" The question pulled at Sarah's heart, and she stepped back, trying to hide the distress that shadowed her smile. "He's away for a bit. But he'll be back soon, just like spring always comes after winter." Emma nodded, but her innocent gaze held a depth that saw through Sarah's bravado. "Will he be okay?" It was a child's question, but it echoed louder than any adult's concern. She wanted to assure the girl, to fill her with confidence that everything would turn out just fine. But right then, Sarah wasn't even sure herself. "We have to believe that he will, sweetheart. That's what love is, believing." For a moment, they sat together on the porch, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the uncertain air. Emma's small fingers danced along the patterns covered in the grass, and Sarah breathed in the scent of blooming flowers nearby, the fragrant reminders of life moving on, even when the heart felt heavy. Suddenly, a familiar sound pierced the gentle breeze. Sarah's heart skipped a beat as she turned, spotting Jack running down the path with a kite flapping wildly behind him. His laughter, pure and bright, was a stark contrast to the worries circling her mind. "Look! I got it up this time," he called, beaming as the wind caught the kite. "Can you see it? It's flying high." He stopped short when he noticed Emma. "What are you doing here?" Emma stood up, excited. "Look at the card I made for Sarah." As they exchanged playful banter, a soft relief washed over Sarah. The two children, so carefree and unaware of the trials waiting to knock on their doors one day, reminded her of simpler joys. Their laughter blended with the rustling leaves, creating an unanticipated harmony that stirred up hope within her heart. Then Sarah's phone buzzed again, this time breaking the peaceful moment. She quickly grabbed it, her breath catching as she saw Theo's name flash across the screen. "Hey Sarah," Theodore's voice came through, steady yet strained. "I need to tell you something." In that instant, the laughter faded into a swell of tension. Was this what the universe was pulling them into? The uncertainty of the looming conversation brought Sarah back to reality like a cold splash of water. "Okay," she replied slowly, taking a deep breath. "I'm listening." A moment of silence forged a path for 1,000 questions. What awaited her words felt like a cliff's edge, teetering precariously. Would this share the truth they needed? And would it change everything they had just begun to build? "Something's happened here. I don't know how to say this." Each word felt heavy, and the children fell silent, sensing the shift like a storm rolling in. What could he possibly reveal now? That question thrummed in the air like an ominous heartbeat, and Sarah steeled herself for what might come next. But even then, she couldn't shake the feeling that the answers held the potential to either break or bind their love tighter than ever. The tension wrapped around Sarah like a thick fog, smothering the warmth from the sunlit porch. She could feel Emma and Jack's gazes on her, their playful energy cooling in the face of her unease. "What is it, Theo?" she pressed, but her voice felt distant, swallowed by worry. "The foreclosure notice came in today," he said, his words reluctant. "We have to come up with a plan, or we might lose the house." Sarah's heart sank. The walls of the home they had built together, filled with laughter, love, and memories, seemed to close in on her. "Are you serious?" She forced the question out, fighting against the trembling in her voice. "I wish I wasn't," he replied sadly. "I know this isn't the best time to bring it up, but I need you to hear me. I didn't want to worry you while you were." He hesitated, and she knew he was thinking of the uncertainties they already faced. "While you were dealing with everything else. But we need to act quickly." The bank isn't known for being understanding like an unexpected storm, his words swept through her world, drenched in doubt and fear. Thoughts flooded her mind: mortgage payments, responsibilities, taking care of the kids, all bearing down on her. The mansion they cherished wouldn't only become a memory, it would transform into a distant dream. "Mom?" Jack asked, confusion dancing across his face. "What is going on?" She looked at him, wanting to shield him from this reality, but the truth hovered between them, stark and unavoidable. "Nothing that can't be fixed, sweetheart." The words were as false as they felt. Emma shifted closer, clutching the card she made. "But you always say we can make things better, right?" The innocent faith poured from Emma like rain on dry ground, saturating the heaviness that filled the moment. It reminded Sarah of why she fought so hard for them, for the love that made this house a home. Taking a breath, Sarah turned back to Theo. What do we need to do? First, we have to meet with someone at the bank, he explained. See what options we have. And then. He paused, the struggle evident in his voice. Maybe I'll have to take on extra work. No. Sarah's response came out firm. No more work, Theo. You're already stretched thin. We'll figure this out together. A flicker of appreciation ignited in Theo's heart, evident even through the crackling line. Okay. We'll make it a plan then. As she hung up, Sarah felt the weight begin to shift slightly. Whispering to herself that it wasn't the end, she rose and approached the children. How about a day in the park? You guys can show me how to fly a kite, too. Jack's eyes lit up, and Emma bounced again in approval, a chorus of excitement erupting as they ran toward the door. The chaos of the day faded to the background, liberated for just a moment by their laughter. But as they left the house, stepping into the sunlight, Sarah couldn't quell the quiet dread that lingered. She looked back, taking in the familiar sight of her home, and felt a sense of determination. Every challenge they faced was a step along the journey, something she refused to navigate alone. Together, they would fight, just as they had for everything else. As they made their way to the park, Sarah's heart filled with resolve. But deep down, she couldn't shake the creeping anxiety about what Theo would do. Would they truly be able to keep their home, or was this just the beginning of an unexpected struggle? The laughter of her children faded, overshadowed by the impending storm. It was the calm before the downpour, and Sarah braced herself for what lay ahead. Would love really be enough to weather this next challenge? The park felt like a sanctuary, filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the warm glow of the sun. As they arrived, Jack and Emma burst free from her side, their laughter ringing out like music in the air. Sarah watched them, a small smile creeping across her face. They didn't know about the storm brewing at home, and perhaps that was best for now. Let us find a good spot to set up the kite. Jack shouted, tugging Emma along with him toward the grassy hill. Moments later, Sarah spread the colorful kite atop the grass, her hands clumsy with the string as she tried to remember how to assemble it. Emma bounced beside her, eager and enthusiastic, as Jack took a few steps back, his brow furrowing in mock seriousness like a young pilot preparing for takeoff. Okay, let it go. Jack commanded, and with a swift pull, the kite danced into the sky. Mom, look! It's flying! Just like you! Sarah said, her heart swelling with pride. She couldn't help but think how their small successes, these simple joys, were vital anchors in the upheaval that surrounded them. But as she watched the kite waver in the breeze, her mind wandered back to Theo. What did the bank meeting hold? What if they couldn't save the house? The weight of uncertainty clung to her like a shadow. Mom! Emma's voice interrupted her thoughts. Come run with us. The beacon of her daughter's joy pulled Sarah from the heaviness. She took a deep breath and joined them, her feet moving in rhythm with their laughter. They raced around the hill, letting the wind cascade through their hair, and for a fleeting moment, everything felt right. But then Emma tripped, tumbling to the ground. Ow! She cried, holding her knee. The laughter faded, replaced by concern as Sarah rushed over, her heart pounding. Sweetheart, are you okay? I'm fine, Emma sniffed, tears pooling in her eyes. It just hurts. Sarah knelt down, brushing the dirt from her daughter's knee. Let me see. The sight of her child in pain twisted her heart. She pulled Emma close, wrapping her arms around her. It's going to be all right. Sometimes it hurts before it gets better, just like life. Jack came running, concern etched in his features. Did she fall? I can be the hero. Of course you can. Sarah said, her tone lightening as she watched Jack puff out his chest in readiness to help. With a little bandage and a kiss, Emma felt a spark of strength, her smile returning. Thanks, Mom. She beamed, as if the world had righted itself. As they played, Sarah couldn't shake the nagging fear that soon she would have to break the news to the kids that their lives might change. Each tick of the clock drew her closer to that harsh reality, and every moment of joy seemed to mock the invisible weight that was looming over them. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, painting everything in shades of gold and orange, she made the decision to talk to Theo tonight. They'd have to confront the truth together. Okay, team. She called, her heart pumping with resolve. It's time for one last big run. Together, they sprinted, arms outstretched, hearts soaring, leaving their worries behind just for a while. But as they collapsed in a heap at the base of the hill, breathless and laughing, Sarah's phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Theo. Can we talk later? I might have news. Her heart dropped. What news? What could this mean for their family? As she stared at the screen, the weight of what lay ahead hung heavy in the air. Was hope just another word for vulnerability? The golden light of dusk bathed the park in a tender glow as Sarah sat back on the grass, her heart racing. Jack and Emma chased each other, laughter echoing like music, while she stared at her phone, deeply conflicted. Can we talk later? I might have news. Theo's words drummed in her head. What could he possibly have to say? What was it that was gnawing at her heart? These thoughts tangled with her love for her children, the laughter mingling around her, and the difficult conversations looming ahead. Mom! Emma squealed, breaking her reverie. Can you help me with the kite? Sure, sweetheart. Just a moment. Sarah tucked her phone away, forcing a smile. She joined them at the edge of the hill, her energy shifting as she slid the string between her fingers. The kite fluttered against the backdrop of the fading sun, embodying beneath its vibrant colors both the hope and fears of her heart. Let us see if we can make it go higher. Jack shouted, determination written all over his face as he pulled the string harder. Sarah couldn't help but feel that their aspirations also mirrored her own, struggling to maintain altitude even when the wind seemed against them. The sadness clung to her as they flew the kite in loops and dives, but she did her best to hide it, her resolve firm. She watched her children revel in the moment, the world oblivious to their family's troubles. Emma's giggles pushed back the tide of worry, if only momentarily. Yet, each sound carried back echoes of uncertainty. Mom, can I try? Emma asked, her eyes wide with excitement. Of course. Sarah replied, handing over the string. Emma's small fingers grasped it with enthusiasm, and for a moment, it felt wonderful to let go of the burden, even just a little. Look how high it is. Emma pointed, her joy radiating through Sarah's heavy heart. Suddenly, Jack, in an adventurous mood, decided to run further up the hill, where it sloped steeply. You guys! Watch me! He climbed higher, his little legs moving at a fierce pace. Be careful, Jack. Sarah called, her protective instinct kicking in. Jack turned, grinning confidently, I'm brave, Mom. That spirit pulled at Sarah. Each laugh from her kids ignited her hope, yet she felt the weight of the world press against her chest. Could she keep this facade up? How could she tell them what was happening? They deserved to enjoy their childhood without this looming cloud. Just then, Jack stumbled over a rock and fell, tumbling down to where Sarah stood. She rushed over, panic surging. Jack! I'm okay. He chuckled, brushing off the dirt, but Sarah couldn't shake the fear. See, I'm brave. He shot her a wink that made her heart swell. Bravery comes in many forms, she said softly, reflecting on her own worries, wondering if she had the courage to face the storm brewing in their lives. As they all gathered together again, Sarah felt a sudden urge to tell them something, anything about the changes they might face. But as laughter filled the air, she hesitated, fighting against the tide of uncertainty. All right, team. She called one last time, striving for that lightheartedness. Let us fly that kite one more time before the sun goes down. The three of them joined hands, the kite soaring higher in the fading light. It danced against the sunset, vibrant and free, and for that brief moment, they forgot the shadow hanging over them. Yet, as the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, the buzz of her phone pierced the air again. Another message. "Sarah, we really need to talk tonight." "It's about the house." Her heart sank, and she turned to see Jack's curious face. "Mom, what's wrong?" The question hung in the air, heavy with unanswered fears, pulling her from the comfort of laughter back into the harsh reality of life. How would she explain it? How could she protect them? With the darkness creeping in and the wind whispering secrets, a feeling washed over Sarah. Was it time to finally reveal the truth? The sun dipped lower, casting shadows that seemed to stretch into Sarah's soul. She could feel the weight of Jack's innocent gaze on her, tiny brows furrowed in genuine concern. "Mom, what's wrong?" His voice cracked the silence like a twig underfoot, and Sarah wavered for a moment. Would it be so bad to tell them? To shatter this tender illusion of safety just to be honest? Emma sensed the shift in air. "Is it about the kite?" She shielded her eyes and squinted at her mother, the little girl's smile faltering. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, sweetheart, not at all." Sarah knelt down so she could meet their eyes, though her heart raced. "It's just something I have to deal with." "Then let us deal with it together," Jack insisted, puffing out his chest, his youthful passion shining through. For a moment, Sarah savored the fire in his spirit, a reminder of the courage she had lost. They needed her strength, not just the facade of fun. "Okay," she said slowly, "but I need you both to be brave." Jack nodded, his tiny head bobbing with conviction. And then there was Emma, with a look of determination that seemed beyond her years. "We can handle anything together, right, Jack?" "Right." He cheered. Together, they settled back on the grass, the kite abandoned for now, a forgotten reminder of promise unfulfilled. Just beneath the surface, a storm brewed in Sarah's heart. Taking a deep breath, she began, "You know how I talked to Uncle Theo the other day?" They both nodded, anticipation glimmering in their eyes. "Well, he has some news about the house and about us." Jack tilted his head, confusion pooling in his eyes. "Isn't our house the one with the swing set?" "Yes," Sarah chuckled while her heart clenched, "but it's more than just the swing set, honey. It's about where we live and where we might go." "Go?" Emma whispered, her excitement slowly fading into concern. Sarah felt the moment burst in the air around them, delicate yet piercing. They needed clarity. Uncle Theo said it's best to talk about some changes that might be coming. He's been trying to help in the house, well, it's a little complicated. A silence fell. The laughter of moments before seemed so far away. It felt strange, this weight of the unknown resting on their shoulders. "Are we going to move?" Jack asked, his small voice trembling slightly. "That's a possibility. What if we just say no?" Emma piped up, a frown pinching her tiny face. "I wish it were that easy," Sarah said gently, resting a hand on her daughter's knee. As the word settled, the kite rested still among blades of grass. It felt entirely too much for that moment, yet so very little when standing against the burdens that clouded their family's horizon. "But why can't we just fight for our house?" Jack looked at her with wide eyes, the fear of abandonment flashing across his face. "We're brave. Isn't that what brave people do?" A lump surged in Sarah's throat. "Yes, brave people do fight," she affirmed, her own heart swelling with pride and anguish. "But sometimes, bravery means knowing when you need help or when it's time to let go for a new adventure for us." As Sarah spoke, the wind whispered through the trees. She sensed that they were right at a crossroads, their innocent hearts grappling with life's complexities. "What if we find a new place? Can it have a swing set?" Emma's voice was tiny, fragile. "Of course, I promise you that," Sarah responded softly, even as doubt lingered in her mind. She needed to believe they could still lean on each other, even in turmoil. "This doesn't sound fun," Jack said, his determination faltering. The honesty made Sarah smile weakly. "Sometimes being grown-up isn't fun, buddy. But it also means we can make some amazing memories wherever we go. Would you still want to fly that kite with me even if we're somewhere new?" "Of course," Jack exclaimed. "What if we made it the best kite ever?" Emma beamed, her spirit reigniting. In that moment, surrounded by whispers of the dusk and guarded dreams, Sarah realized that as hard as it was, the truth could lead to unexpected hope. "All right, kiddo, let us make some memories." As they rose to chase the kite, Sarah felt a flicker of relief. Yet, deep within, a storm brewed, and thoughts of Theo's message loomed over her like thunderclouds. Was she ready to face what lay ahead? Sarah watched as Jack and Emma darted after the kite, their laughter echoing in the air, a sweet melody that momentarily drowned out her worries. The colors danced against the darkening sky, and for a heartbeat, everything felt right. But as they tugged the string and felt the wind lift the kite higher, a heaviness settled deeper in her chest. What would tomorrow bring? The unknown crept in at the edges of her mind, a persistent shadow. Uncle Theo's words had weighed on her complicated, turbulent waters rising beneath the surface of their little world. She wanted to protect them, clasp them close and keep the storms at bay, but reality loomed like an approaching storm. "Mom, look!" Jack shouted, pulling her back from her thoughts. The kite soared, tugging against its string as though it wanted to break free of the tensions binding them all. Emma clapped her hands, squealing in delight. Their exuberance was a reminder of their innocence, an untainted joy that made Sarah's heart ache. "Just like that. Fly high, little kite." Emma's voice rang out, filled with hope. There was a determination in her daughter, a light that sparked even brighter against Sarah's looming fears. "Closer, guys. Keep it steady," Sarah called out, though her heart ached with fear of change. They had fought hard to stay in their home, memories woven through every corner of the house, and it had always felt like safe ground. Jack raced back, his cheeks flushed with excitement. "Can we bring the kite to our new place?" "Sure, buddy." She forced a smile, wondering if she could carry that kite of hope wherever they landed next. "That way, it can keep flying high no matter what." "Can we name it?" Emma chimed in, spinning around with wild imaginings. Sarah chuckled at her daughter's creativity, though the thought stirred something deep within her. "Of course. How about Braveheart? Just like us?" Jack shouted, throwing his arms around his sister. As Sarah watched them, a power surged through her. They were resilient, stronger than she often gave them credit for. And wasn't that what she had been trying to teach them? Yet as they spun in circles, chasing the kite, Sarah felt the fragile line of her own courage fluttering. The weight of uncertainties pressed upon her. Would they be okay? Would their laughter find a place in whatever new home awaited them? "Mom!" Emma called, pulling her from the spiral of doubt. "Can we take a picture with Braveheart?" A wave of warmth washed over Sarah. "Of course. Let us capture this moment." As they lined up, arms around each other, Sarah crouched down, trying to freeze this moment in time when life felt possible and the love of her family fought back the fears lurking in the corners. She snapped the picture, the lens capturing wide smiles and a sky filled with color. But just as she hit the shutter button, Sarah noticed a figure in the distance, someone walking toward them. A familiar silhouette that stirred up nerves inside her. It was Uncle Theo, his demeanor serious and his usual warmth seemingly overshadowed by something she couldn't quite grasp. "Guys, let us," she started, but was cut off by Theo's voice as he approached. "Sarah, can we talk? It's important." The air shifted, and Sarah felt the ground beneath her give way. The moment was about to change, and her heart thundered in anticipation. "Mom." Jack's voice was soft, laced with concern. Keeping her gaze on Theo, Sarah turned back to her children. Just a moment, sweetheart. Stay right here. As she stepped towards Theo, dread coiled in her stomach. This was it. The storm was about to break. We need to discuss what's next. Theo's face was grave, each word feeling like a stone dropped into water, sending ripples through her calm world. What did he mean by next? The questions piled up with relentless force, pressing against her heart like a tidal wave. But what she didn't expect was the gravity of what he would reveal. Sarah's heart pounded as she faced her uncle. The joy of the kite and her children's laughter melted into the background, replaced by a tense silence that made everything feel heavy and dark. She could sense Theo's anxiety radiating from him like heat from a wildfire. "What is going on, Theo?" she asked, keeping her voice steady despite the tremor inside her. She scanned his face, looking for signs, but his eyes were clouded, shadows playing across his features. "It's about the house," he replied, each word caught between urgency and difficulty. He shifted uncomfortably, casting a glance at the children before returning his gaze to her. "I didn't want to say anything until I was sure, but there are serious issues with the property. The foundation is unstable. You can't live there much longer." The ground beneath her seemed to shatter. She felt as if she'd been thrown into a deep abyss, already haunted by the thought of leaving, and now faced with what felt like a definite end. "What? Are you sure?" Her breaths quickened, and she fought against the wave of panic. "We've worked so hard to keep that house. There must be something we can do." Theo shook his head slowly, a deep crease forming on his brow. "I didn't want to break this to you without having options, but you need to think about the kids. Their safety comes first." Jack and Emma were playing nearby, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around them. Jack had taken Braveheart back into his grasp, his face bright with excitement as he fended off imaginary dragons, while Emma danced around, twirling in the evening light like a little fairy. They deserved so much more than the uncertainty looming over their family. "Is there a way to fix it?" she faltered, desperation leaking into her voice. "Did they have to uproot everything again? It would take a massive amount of work and money, Sarah. You'd be better off moving somewhere else, at least for now," he said, gently. "Moving, again?" she echoed, trying to swallow the fear. It felt like a bitter pill lodged in her throat. What about their memories? Just when she thought they had found their footing, this news threatened to topple everything. Theo stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I'll help you find a place, I promise. I can help with the moving costs, too." A shard of guilt jabbed at her heart. Could she lean on him again when she had been trying so hard to stand on her own? "I can't keep asking, Theo. You've done so much for us already. This isn't about what you owe me. It's about family," he insisted, his tone firm but kind. "You've always been there for me. Now it's my turn." Tears burned in her eyes. She felt a mix of gratitude and sorrow, her heart twisting with memories both sweet and fierce. Suddenly, she wanted to cling to the idea of their home even tighter. "Why couldn't it just be easy?" she whispered brokenly. "Sometimes the hard paths lead to the best places," he replied, his voice low and comforting. Jack and Emma ran over, curious now, their innocent eyes scanning their mother's troubled expression. "What's happening? Are we okay?" Jack asked, worry creeping into his words. Taking a deep breath, Sarah knelt down, forcing the fear and panic down. "It's going to be all right, I promise. We're going to figure this out together," she said softly, looking into their hopeful eyes. As she wrapped her arms around them, she felt their warmth seep into her skin, a temporary balm for her aching heart. But even as she held them, uncertainty twisted in her mind. How could she assure them of a future when her own felt so murky? What would it mean for their family, for their laughter and their joy? "Braveheart will always fly, no matter where we land," she whispered, though the words felt a little hollow against the reality of shifting ground under their feet. But just as she tried to find strength in making promises, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from the bank, a notification she had nervously awaited. Her heart raced, and she hesitated. What now? With shaky fingers, she opened it. The screen revealed something she never anticipated, and as her eyes widened, her breath caught in her throat. Was this the turning point she had been dreading, or the opportunity she had unknowingly wished for? Sarah's heart raced with a mix of hope and fear. She had to know what it meant. She opened the message with trembling fingers, her breath quickening as she read the words on the screen. It was an offer, a chance to stay in their home under a temporary arrangement, allowing them time to address the issues Theo mentioned. Relief, like a gentle tide, washed over her, but it was laced with skepticism. "Are we okay, Mom?" Jack asked again, concern etched across his small face. "Yes," she breathed out, turning to face them, her smile not completely genuine but fueled by the fresh glimmer of hope. "We might have more time to stay here. Remember how you said we're brave? This is our chance to show it." Emma clasped her brother's hand, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "So we're not moving yet?" "Not yet, but there are changes we'll have to make together." Sarah rose, the dreadful weight lifting just a little. "We need to fix the house, and that might take some help." Theo cleared his throat, his tone changing to that gentle protector. "I can bring in some people to help look at what needs to be fixed. We can work as a family, turning it back into a home. Like brave knights." Jack cheered, and even Emma giggled. Their laughter sparkled against the backdrop of uncertainty, momentarily breathing life into the fragile hopes of their future. "That's right, just like knights." Sarah felt the warmth of their laughter embrace her, and she wrapped her arms around them once more, this time holding on tighter, relief mingling with love and determination. "Mom! We need to fly, Braveheart." Emma chimed in, breaking the tension that hung heavy in the air. Sarah smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm, feeling weight lift away with each sweet reminder of innocence. "Yes, let us do that." They rushed back to the open field, and Sarah watched as Jack and Emma clutched the kite's string together, their small bodies tinged with eagerness. With a careful tug, they sent Braveheart soaring into the twilight sky, cutting through the last glimmers of daylight. "Look, Mom! It's flying higher!" Jack shouted, eyes wide with wonder, while Emma squealed with joy, echoing her brother's exuberance. Sarah joined them, her heart fluttering as she watched the kite dance against the deepening blue. For a moment, the air was filled with laughter, the whispers of concern fading into the distance. Every change might lead us to something new and wonderful, she thought, taking in the way the wind caught the fabric, lifting it beautifully, almost as if it carried their dreams along with it. Just as they lost themselves in the moment, Sarah's phone buzzed again, and she hesitated but then took a deep breath to steady herself. She pulled it out, reading another message, this time from Theodore. "I'm coming home. I've dealt with my family, and I'm ready to face anything with you. Mom! Did you see it?" Emma tugged on her shirt, urgency creeping into her voice. "Braveheart is soaring higher than anything." "Just wait a moment," Sarah said softly, her heart swelling as she reveled in the sight of her children, innocent and resplendent, perfectly encapsulating the power of their connection. "Mom!" Jack yelled again, pulling her back to the task at hand. "Look at us." The three of them intertwined, their hands gripping the string together, working in harmony to keep their dreams aloft. Each moment of unity brought her closer to the truth they were stronger together. As she watched Braveheart climb higher, she felt the certainty that whatever lay ahead, they would weather the storm. Because love wasn't just about standing firm, it was about weathering every squall together, learning to trust and lift one another toward the sun. "Together, we'll take this on," she whispered, and her children responded, beaming with joy, shock waves of confidence glittering in their wide eyes. "Together!" They screamed in joy, growing spirits rising higher alongside their cherished kite. And at that moment, as the last slivers of sunlight illuminated them in gold, Sarah decided they would be okay. They would navigate the turbulent waters that came their way, be it flooding rain or dark shadows, and their hearts would find their way home. With newfound strength, she raised her voice above the laughter. Let us make every moment count, even as we face the unknown. Let us be brave together forever. And as Braveheart twirled in the evening sky, its vibrant colors reflecting their vibrant spirits, Sarah felt a wash of contentment. They would find their way through the trials. They would sway and dive with every gust. Because love wasn't just an anchor, it was the wind beneath their wings. And with that, she knew they were ready for whatever came next. Now, if you're feeling this journey, this incredible love story, then you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. This is the moment to show your support so you don't miss out on exclusive stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes all the difference. Comment below your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions to this heartfelt ending. What did you think about Sarah and Theodore's journey? And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, because only true fans understand the importance of lifting each other up in times of need.